Folks, job losses are becoming more of a concern. I'll get into that and then the latest home prices and insights for the City of Toronto for week ending March the 5th, 2025. Recently, we were negotiating on a sale. We were representing the seller. We received an offer, and this was over the course of the weekend. Now, where the seller wanted to be and where the buyer started, very far apart. We had a lot of work to do on this, and we went back and forth, and we negotiated, talked about everything. It wasn't just the price. Closing date was a factor, everything. And we're at the tail end. It's late Sunday night. We feel we almost have it. The offer is now sitting with the buyers. They have until Monday afternoon to just accept the final changes that are like we're right there, basically almost agreed to everything. And Monday morning, I received a phone call from the buyer's side, and it was backed up with an email with a long explanation. They're so sorry. They have to pull out of the negotiation. They need to put their buying decision on pause for a while till they figure things out, because they received, the buyers, one of them received a letter from their employer saying there's a round of layoffs coming up in the coming weeks. There's going to be more details. So these people thinking they're gonna be losing their job, and hence they're going to stop their buying. They need their income to be able to buy, right? So that's when we're representing the seller. I've got two different buyers that have experienced or in the process of experiencing a job loss where we've had to put their buying decision on pause to see how that plays out. This is not somebody who's just kind of thinking. We were physically viewing properties. Like we were, if the right property came up, we would have put an offer. If it was a week ago, we would have bought. And now it's like, whoa, we need to stop. We're not sure what's happening here. You know, there's a few things that affect every aspect of your life. Your health is one thing. Naturally, it will affect, good health, bad health will affect every aspect of your life. Your job, your employment, your source of income will affect every aspect of your life. This being a real estate show, we talk about how it affects real estate. And depending on how secure you are in your job, you're either moving up, living comfortably, buying other things, or the opposite. If you're not secure or experience a job loss, there are sellers out there selling because there's a job loss in the household and they can no longer afford to keep that home. On the other side, there's people that were thinking of buying, maybe buying this year, that are not doing that. And then there's the ripple effect. If you know somebody who's experienced that, or there's rumors in the air that maybe that might be happening with your company, that they're going to be laying people off, people kind of pause en masse, and they're like, whoa, what's going on here? Through history, there are narratives that we peg the real estate, whatever the real estate situation is at the time, we peg to a certain narrative. Very recently, if you recall, as interest rates were coming down, people were buying en masse. Interest rates are low, for sure. Yeah, let's buy. Everybody's buying because interest rates are low. Then interest rates went the other way, started climbing, and people backed off from buying. More sellers were coming on as they were seeing prices coming down. So sellers are looking to get rid of their properties. Buyers backed off, and it's like, this is happening because interest rates are going up. There's few aspects like that. When it was everybody work from home, it's like, and we talked about all these outlying little tiny towns doing so well in real estate. Well, because companies said, hey, you don't have to come into work anymore. You could work from anywhere you want, anywhere in the world practically you could work from. And so people were leaving the cities, and oh yeah, people are leaving out, and these towns are doing so great because of the work from home rule or mandate, we'll call it. So all these things have affected real estate. It affects how you live, whether you rent, whether you own. Your job affects the exact same way. And now we're hearing more and more about job losses. I'm not saying at all that it'll be en masse. We don't know what's going to happen there. But I am seeing it more and more, and it's affecting more and more people that I personally know or work with. So I'll leave you with this. If you're a homeowner and you experience a job loss, I would urge you to, as soon as possible, find out your options. Don't just hope and think that things are going to go away and just on their own get better. Find your options before the banks come knocking. Because then where you would have earlier, if you reacted earlier, had some options and can make decisions, when the banks come knocking, they're going to be making decisions on your behalf. You'll have no more control. So decide early, find out your options, figure out what you're going to do. If you are a buyer, in carpentry they say, measure twice, cut once. That's what I would urge you to do. If you are looking to buy, really, really, really get a strong handle on your finances. Really, really understand. Don't overspend. I mean, we're not talking about a couple $100 here, buying something that you could easily just absorb. You're talking a major, major, major purchase here. Really know your numbers, really know your limits. Don't get too close to the red line, because one thing here or there could throw you in a tailspin. Let me know in the comments below if what I'm talking about here has affected you or somebody you know. I'm curious your take on what I'm saying here. Let me know in the comments below. If you think this video can help somebody you know, pass it along. If you're getting value from what we're talking about here, subscribe. And if you want to speak with me about your real estate situation, selling, buying, it's really simple. Below this video in the description, there's a link to my calendar. You could click on that link or go to tsre.ca. My calendar will be there. Click a date and time that suits you, and we'll talk about whatever's on your mind. Now, let's get into the numbers. Folks, we're in March already. Let's take a close look what's happening in the city of Toronto, real estate-wise, we're speaking here. So for week ending March the 5th, I have here detached, semis and towns. That's what we're going to be focused on, the freehold market for the city of Toronto. I do have condo average prices here also for reference. The average condo price at $705 versus the average detached at $1.8 million. There's a almost $1.1 million difference in average sold price. For people thinking, I'm selling my condo, I'm going to buy detached, there's very few that could make that jump just because the difference, the price spread. Let's get started. We're going to look at detached properties again for week ending March the 5th. 138 detached properties were sold. Those sales, not every single week. They do go up and down, but they look like they're trending upwards, which is what we would expect at this time of the year as we head into the spring season. The amount of detached selling at $2 million or more, that's trending up also. So for last week, it was 44 detached properties sold at $2 million or more. That's 44 out of 138. It's a high percentage. An average sold price also, to me, from my vantage point here, looks like overall average sold price are trending upwards. We're now sitting at 1,801,000 for the average detached sold price. 1,801 is 2% higher than where we were this time a year ago. The median price is 2% lower. Median price is 1.5 million. The dotted line, that's a 4-week moving average. It's just another metric to kind of gauge where our prices, what direction they're headed, and both median price and average price using the 4-week moving average look like they're trending upwards. 138 we said were sold, 54% sold at list price or more. That's for the whole city. We're going to break down individual or smaller neighborhoods shortly, but for the city, it's 54% sold at list price or more. Listings, we have more listings than last year at this time. Active listings is increasing, trending upwards. Months of inventory is coming down. We're sitting at 2.8 months of inventory. As months of inventory come down, we're seeing average prices trending upwards. That's the relationship between months of inventory and prices. As months of inventory go up, prices tend to come down. Months of inventory is really the relationship of supply and demand. Here's the city broken down into 9 different sections. So the whole city sitting at 2.8. Some areas are kind of average, similar to the whole city. Some areas are a bit more active, and some areas the other way. Scarborough, 2.7 months of inventory. East York, Riverdale, Beaches area, 2.4 months of inventory. York Mills, Rosedale, average price is more than 3.2 million, 3.1 months of inventory. Uptown, 1.8 is the average price, 4.4 months of inventory. High Park, there were 10 properties sold. Excuse me. Average sold price, 2,451,000. 1.6 months of inventory, so it's got the lowest months of inventory. 90%, 9 out of 10 properties sold at list price or more. Very competitive. East York, a third, less than a third, 30% sold at list price or more, 2.4 months of inventory. Here's semi-detached properties. For week ending March the 5th, 44 semi-detached properties sold. 8 of those were at $1.5 million or more. Sales were trending up. They kind of look a little flat to me right now. I'm just trying to average it out. You be the judge. Those are the numbers. Average sold price for the last 4 weeks, little by little each week, it's trending down. It's now at $1,261,000, but it's trending down from where we were way down here at the beginning of the year. So do we say it's higher, it's down? It's really tough to say. Compared to last year, 1,261 is 3% lower. The median price, it's a little lower, but it rounds off to a 0% change. Months of inventory, although it's up from the previous week, it's really low at 1.6 months of inventory. 68% of all semi-detached are selling at list price or more. Townhouses. These are freehold townhouses. Only 8 sold. None sold at $1.5 million or more. Average sold price way down to $1,015,000. The fact that there are for this week, no townhouses selling at in the 1.5 range or more is a big reason why average sold price dropped way down. Compared to last year, $1,015,000 is 16% lower. The median price of $972 is 23% lower. Months of inventory climbed to 4.6 months of inventory. So when it stables off, is it going to be more around the 2.4, 2.5? Is it going to be higher in the 4s? It's really tough to say where freehold townhouses are at when it comes to trend lines, months of inventory. It's really tough to say. Here's a quick summary. In most cases, you're going to experience either a balanced market or a bit of a seller's market. There's, sometimes depending on the neighborhood, you might have a ton of listings there and it's a little bit more of a buyer's market. but it just seems more of the markets are a bit more competitive these days, especially in the city of Toronto. For some, I know that's not what you want to hear. For others, it's exactly what you want to hear. You take from this what suits you and what works for you. Everybody has their own buying and selling situations. Have yourself an awesome day.